A lot of times, they are released.
We can't have violent people wandering around our streets scaring people because it becomes a jungle.
It's not uncommon for an offender to be arrested in the morning, let's say in the early hours of the morning, and within that same 24-hour period be rearrested.
So they could actually be arrested twice within the same 24-hour period.
You could, and it's not
that's
not unheard of. That has happened. I've seen it personally in my career, yes.
The police, their hands are handcuffed because they can only do so much. I'll give you an example. There was one guy that was arrested here. The police said, we arrested that guy like hundreds of times, literally. Okay, so it's a revolving door.
The revolving door justice system describes the catch and release policies put in place by Canada's politicians and made worse by many of the judges and prosecutors that they appoint. Criminals are arrested and released again, in a cycle of never-ending perpetuation of crime, allowing violent offenders to serve little to no jail time and return back to the street to offend again. This leads to a small number of prolific offenders who commit the vast majority of crime in Canada. For example, in Vancouver, just 40 people have been responsible for over 6,300 incidents.
Really, it is a revolving door. And it doesn't send a message to anybody except that you're going to get a slap on the wrist and go back out and do it again. These people now understand that they're allowed to do just about anything. And there is absolutely no deterrent to change your lifestyle.
Far from there being a deterrent, once released, these criminals are allowed to return to their life of crime and dodge any further accountability by hiding in highly populated, lawless areas that this city has allowed to exist without supervision. These areas are called tent cities. For 2 years, a tent city in Oppenheimer Park was allowed to exist, attracting hundreds of people, including violent criminals, like the so-called mayor of Oppenheimer Park, who is charged with the murder of a 78-year-old woman. In June of 2020, after the Oppenheimer Park tent city was shut down, the people living there moved to Strathcona Park and set up a new tent city. In the first 7 months of that year, calls to the VPD about weapons in the Strathcona area jumped by 50%. Calls about threatening behavior rose by 14%, and break-ins in the area increased by 68%.
There are criminals that are drawn to those areas because there's, like I say, it's like a state of lawlessness, and they're able to come and go as they please, no rules. We had a murderer that was living in Strathcona.
There was a criminal element embedded in there.